This is part 3 of a video series that I've been doing about the DAADs. If you've not watched any of the other parts, I advise you to go and start from there such that you can understand the continuity of what is going on. And today we are going to be talking about how you can position yourself to be an ideal candidate for the scholarship. As you already know about the DAAD Helmut Schmidt Scholarship, it is a fully funded scholarship that gives you an opportunity to go study in Germany. It is targeting those that have been working for a couple of years. You need some years of work experience in order to get the scholarship. So let us talk about what exactly can you do to be the ideal candidate for it, because the idea is you're putting up your hand and telling them, pick me amongst everyone else, right? So we start here. DAAD doesn't just fund degrees. They fund future leaders who will drive systemic change in their home countries. So the first question that you have to start asking yourself is, are you currently in the process of driving change in your home country? If you are, then probably you are an ideal candidate, or you are edging towards being an ideal candidate for the scholarship. So y'all let me know in the comment section, what exactly are you doing right now to solve issues in your country? Are you volunteering? What are you doing? So we start here with the catalyst. You have a world-class master's education in Germany. That is what is going to do for you. And then you have the scholars return to the global south equipped with tools for democratic governance. That is after your training, after you've done that. The impact, establishing social justice, overcoming inequality, and building civil society structures. That is what you should be aiming to do. And then the progress here is replacing poor governance with systematic, democratically oriented economic development. Think about the things that you are interested in solving, things that are related to social issues, maybe legal issues, maybe things that are going on in your community that you think that they should pay attention to those things. What are they? What are the things that you would like to work on? Let me know in the comment section, okay? So let's look at eligibility checkpoints. Now, what are the things that they are going to be looking at to see if you are an ideal candidate for the scholarship, okay? So they are looking at a 6-year rule here. You must recently your most recent university degree cannot be older than 6 years. For the 2026 cycle, the degree issue date must be no earlier than January 1st, 2020. Okay, so this is 2026. They require that you should have had your degree 6 years ago. Okay, and then they have a 15-month rule. Must originate from a DAC country, that is developing countries. You cannot have lived in a non-DAC country for more than 15 months at the time of the application deadline. The application deadline is going to be July, I think 31st. So you all still have a lot of time to prepare and apply for the scholarship, okay? And then they have the top 30% rule. So academic excellence is a baseline. You must possess a first degree with above average grades, strictly defined as the upper third of your graduating class. I think the upper third of the graduating class is a very broad way of looking at it, because upper third in one country may probably upper third will be the same everywhere, but the idea is, how is that going to be referred to? Is it first class honors? Is it second class upper? Does it end at second class upper? And for those that are following let's say the systems on 100, what does that get to be like? Is it going to be let's say 80 on 100, 70 on 100? I remember a student who was applying for MEX scholarship, and she was telling me that she had 60 on 100, and I think from Namibia, and I was asking her let us convert that to see what that gives in terms of a scale of 4, right? So you have to convert it to see what that scales to. So y'all let me know in the comment section, what is your GPA? What is your current GPA? Now let's look at what else is going to make you an ideal candidate for this scholarship. So they have the anatomy of a future leader. They need to see that you possess some leadership skills and something that was going to make them okay, this is somebody worth investing all of the millions into, because at the end of the day, scholarship is not charity. They are invested in you, and they want to see if you are a good investment or you are going to be a bad investment, okay? The number one, academic excellence. So top the 30% of graduating class, that upper third that they spoke about, a strong academic foundation in social and political sciences, law, economics, public policy, or administration. Those are the majors that are being covered for the Helmut Schmidt Scholarship. If you have not watched the previous videos, go and watch it, because you should already know that by now. And then you have the professional drive, tangible practical experience. So for most of the programs, they require at least 1 year full-time or significant cumulative internships directly related to good governance. So you must have been doing something within the space for them to sort of, and you need to be able to prove the things that you've been doing, like some kind of an internship letter or something that has a letterhead, like to show that you are you didn't just show up today. You've been in this field for quite some time. All right. Civic commitment, active political, social, or community engagement, demonstrable history of working to improve civil society beyond paid employment. Then let's look at the other things that are going to help you get selected for this scholarship. So they have a selection room priority. Let's look at what that is. So they have the baseline, of course, good grades, top 30%. If you're there, you already know that you have a good chance of getting the scholarship. And then English proficiency, C1 level. I think, do they require IELTS or TOEFL? I am not sure. Y'all check and let me know in the comment section. I cannot remember it off the top of my head. And then a valid bachelor's degree, of course, because this is going to be a master's program, so they require you to have a valid bachelor's degree. Okay, now let's look at the X factor here. What it is, what is it that is going to help you stand out from the crowd and get the scholarship? Okay, social impact. You need a proven history of working for free to uplift communities, for example NGOs, charities, grassroots. You have to have been someone that is in the field working, and that is the reason why, although academic let's say performance is good, most of the time they are really looking to see if you're someone who has been active in your community or not. Okay, and then governance focus, professional work explicitly tied to public policy, democracy, or social protection. Any of those things that you have been doing, of course you need to prove that this is what you've been doing. The why, a highly specific actionable vision of how the German degree will be applied back home to breach a specific knowledge gap. At the end of the day, y'all saw the circular process that they were talking about, the reason for you going to study in Germany, and then the return. You're going to return to your country in order to make some changes within the field that you're interested in, and the impact. So that impact now gets to be, what exactly is it that you are going to do? So they want to see that clarity on what is your return plan. When you return, what are you going to be doing, right? What are the things that you're going to engage in? They need to make sure that you have a clear plan about that. Now let's talk about another way that you're going to use in order to be the ideal candidate for this scholarship. It's a fully funded scholarship, so you really have to put in some work to make sure that you get chosen. Okay, so you have good versus ideal profiles. So you can have a good profile. I was talking to some student who was applying for the MEC scholarship, and I was reviewing her essays, and I was like, this is a good enough research proposal, but it's not competitive. It's good. No, I'm not saying it's not good. We're saying it's good, but if you think of all the other people that you're going to be competing against, there's a chance that others may actually beat you to it. So it is the difference between a good and an ideal scholar. Okay, professional experience. So a good candidate is going to have 2 years of corporate experience, maybe in a commercial bank. Okay, and then the ideal scholar has 1 year of commercial bank maybe experience plus 1 year of volunteering in a microfinance, like an NGO empowering rural women. Those are the types of things that get to count. And then let's look at the core motivation. A good candidate wants to study in Germany for better career prospects and European exposure. Please never say that in any of your letters. Please never say that. That is like recipe for rejection. Okay, and then the ideal scholar wants to study in Germany to master specific socioeconomic policies to implement in their local ministry. Or when you go back home, what are you going to be doing? You need to prove that. And then you have the burden of proof. Submit a standard generic employment contract. What does an ideal scholar do? An ideal scholar submits an official letter from an employer explicitly detailing their public impact and community service contributions. And that is the reason why, if you're going to be applying for this scholarship, it is very important that you take some time out to sit down with the person that is going to be writing your recommendation letter. Explain to them about the scholarship, explain to them why you want to apply, such that when they sit down to write a recommendation letter for you, they have a lot of information to put in it. Heck, what I advise students is draft something yourself, write a recommendation letter yourself, and then take it to your in this case, it's probably going to be your employer, or maybe someone that you worked with at an NGO and things like that. Give it to them, and then let them use that, and then they can now maybe change it to put it in their own words and things like that. But at least you gave them something to work with. Okay, curating your academic path. So you must select maximum 2 master's courses from the 7 participating universities. I think in the next video, I'm going to talk about in the next video. If you're not subscribed to this channel, do well to subscribe, like this video, because it really helps the channel. Please like the video, share the video. And in the next video, or maybe probably in the next video, I'll talk about the application documents. Like, we'll break it down into bits, and then maybe at some point I'll also talk about the participating universities, because I think it's important to know the universities that you are going to be applying to and what you can apply for in these universities. So you have to select two of these universities. So you have your first choice and your second choice. So there's a golden rule. You must write one single motivation letter that covers both choices. So what they have in terms of a strategic requirement here is you must explicitly rank your choices, clearly justify why your first choice is your first choice, why your second choice is your second choice, and how each specifically aligns with your career path and DAAD's mission. So it's like practically applying to 2 different universities and then having one thing to justify why you are going to be you're ranking this, because it's just you, right? Your goals are very unique. Like, you have one goal, but now you have to justify why you're ranking one above the other. It is important that you figure out how to justify that, because that is what is going to move you from a good candidate to an ideal candidate. So take some time, do some research about each of the universities. Probably you can rank them based on professors that are there, labs that are there, or maybe the particular kind of research that you want to do, or the kind of tools that you want to use, and which university has it over the other. I think those are kind of academic justifications for them. Yeah, it goes a long way. Please, in all you do not justify it in terms of one is located in Berlin and the other one is located in wherever, like that you're going to get rejected. Now let's look at the motivation letter. As someone who wants to get the scholarship, what should a motivation letter for an ideal scholar look like, right? Maximum is 2 pages. You have to craft a compelling narrative within that limit. So you have a hook, you have the academic fit, you have the evidence, and you have a return. I'm actually going to take some time, probably in the next 2 videos, and we're going to just work on this motivation letter paragraph by paragraph, such that you all have a better way of writing this particular motivation letter, because I think that this is like one of the make or break things with this scholarship. So I want to really dedicate a whole video for it. So if you're applying to this scholarship, please do well to subscribe, turn the notifications on, and come back like in the coming Fridays. It is going to be posted where we will work on the motivation letter. Okay, now let's talk about the next thing that can help you become an ideal candidate. This is building a narrative driven CV. So you have a CV here. You have the strict format. It must be completed using the official Europass format. Yes. It must include the date of issue, added manually, and a hand signature. Yes. Reverse chronological order. Start with your current impact and work your way backwards. Okay, account for time. No unexplained gaps should be in your CV, and any gap longer than 3 months must be explicitly accounted for. And then elevate the social. Treat volunteer work, political engagement, and community service with the same level of detail and gravity as your paid employment, because at the end of the day, this is a scholarship that is trying to figure out how good have you been on helping in your community, right? So if there is anything that you have been good on helping, it is very important that you treat that with as much emphasis as you will treat a paid job, because that is what they are looking for. So you have to craft your CV. I'm also going to take some time in the coming videos for such that we can do a deep dive into this Europa CV that they are talking about. We'll look at we're going to look at this section by section. What should you write, what should you for each section, such that you have a clear idea on how to go about it. Okay, now let's look at, we were just talking about earlier, proof, because they want to see that the burden of proof, documentation that wins. Employment proof, you must be on official headed paper, so letterheads, company letterheads, NGO letterheads, those are important. Must have an original signature or code certified digital signature, date and stamp. Ask the employers to state your social impact, not just your daily task. Okay, so sit down with your recommender and have that conversation with them. Academic transcripts, you must provide a full set of records. You must include official explanation of the grading system. We're just talking earlier about 104 grading systems and how they differ. And then certified translations are required if the original is not in English or in German. Then the details matter. Applications are sent directly to the master's programs, not to DAAD. That is true. I think we spoke about this in the previous video, where you start your application for the scholarship at the university. Okay, you must submit a hand-signed DAAD checklist and application form. Submitting incomplete or incorrectly signed documents will result in automatic rejection. In the coming videos also, we are going to talk about this checklist. We are going to talk about the application form. In a video that I'm going to be doing just about the application documents, we will go through this application documents just to make sure that you all know exactly how to fill up everything and which application documents should be coming in what order. That way you can sort of gauge like, okay, how good am I preparing? Like, I'm going to make sure that I have a video that guides you all throughout that entire process. Okay, so how else are you going to make sure that you are an ideal candidate for this scholarship? There's an alignment that they are going to be checking for. Okay, your past, your present, and your future. That is really what it's going to come down to. In your past, they are looking at your academic success perfectly combined with grassroots and professional or community impact. That is what they are assessing. Then now they look at your present. You are seeking highly specified skills via the DAAD Masters in Germany to bridge a critical knowledge gap. That is what you're trying to do now. So what are you going to do in the future? You have to be returning to the Global South to actively implement this democratic, social, or economic policy. So you have to tie all this in. If you're not tying this in, then you are not going to get it. You have to tie the past, the present, and the future. And if your application draws a straight, undeniable line through these 3 points, you are an ideal scholar for the Helmut Schmidt Scholarship. I hope that this was helpful. Please, as I said, do well to like the video, share the video. If you know anyone that is looking for a fully funded scholarship to go study in Germany, share this with them. I'm going to see you all in the next one, where we are going to talk about the application documents, how to prepare each of them step by step, such that you all do not get lost in this entire process. I'm also trying to see that I can link those that are interested in applying for this scholarship with those that have already gotten the scholarships. But I need to be sure that you all are interested in it and you all can pay for it. So you all let me know in the comment section. If I see more like enthusiasm about it and people letting me know that they are interested, then I'll go ahead and do it. I'm going to see you all in the next one. Peace.